Do you have enough light in your life? Are you soaring in the joy around you? Are you stuck and unable to make life happen? Stay tuned for the Rabbi Jenny Show, where you will learn how to bask in the light and find more joy and meaning in life. Call to talk to Rabbi Jenny at 888-565-1470 and email questions and comments at rabbijenny.com. And now, if you're ready, stay tuned for the Rabbi who will light your world on fire, Rabbi Jenny.
Hey, happy Wednesday. It's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome to the Rabbi Jenny Show. I'm glad you're here. We are so happy to be here. A couple of housekeeping things. You can check us out at 1470 AM, this station, or you can check us out on iHeartRadio. And we are almost set to go live on Facebook soon, maybe next week, couple weeks. And you can also watch some old shows on YouTube and check me out on the Facebook and the Twitter at Jenny Rabbi. And ask me any questions. And you can also get my Huffington Post Daily Light there and check that out. We have an exciting show today. We have a very animated guest that I'm thrilled about. And our topic is even more thrilling because our topic is the secret, I believe, to manifesting big, big, big things in your life. It is the key to patience, which is really important because we think we should be there when we're not there. And there's a whole process going on, which is illuminated in Torah of integration and revelation and healing. So we're going to go into that. But first, we have to go into our two main Rabbi Jenny ideas. If you've listened to the show before, you know these ideas. If you haven't, what I want you to do from now on is make these two main ideas a part of your central paradigm, a part of your life at every moment you can. I want you to remember to say these two things. And the first thing is this: the world is happening for you and not to you. That is 100% of the time, the world is happening for you and not to you. And why it is happening for you and not to you is because you are divine love light energy. You are a piece of life. You are a piece of the world, and you are constantly growing and expanding like all energy. And so whatever is happening in your life may feel like it's contracting you or may feel like it's stretching you or hurting you. What it's really doing is it's setting up your energy to just blow apart and get bigger and expand and become something even better. So world's happening for you and not to you. So that leads me to our topic today, which is wholeness. And we are knee-deep in the story of Yehoshua, or Joshua. We're in an exciting time in Torah. We're coming upon the end. We're in Deuteronomy. We're in the final book and of the scroll. And we are right at the point, which seems a little depressing. And when I was a kid, it really kind of pissed me off. We're at the point where Moses is not going to the promised land. And I have to say, most of my motivation in seminary was to figure out why Moses didn't get to go. I know that sounds really weird. Other people obsess about things when they're a child, but when I'm a child, I remember this very specifically in Hebrew school, like not understanding why the guy who freed the people wasn't allowed to go into Zion, like right before they got there. And I just thought it was the cruelest, meanest thing ever. And I couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't until I got to seminary and started studying Torah and started understanding that it is actually the code of your soul, that it's actually identifying your own human journey, and that every character, every letter in the Torah is in you, that I figured out that it wasn't actually saying that Moses wasn't going. It was actually saying that Moses, the energy of Moses, the energy inside of us that frees us and takes us to a new level, that energy that causes us to push and push and push in our life. What happens at this point in the Torah isn't that Moses doesn't get to go, but Moses finally integrates. He finally gets to a state that Moses' energy finally integrates with Yisrael, with God, and becomes Yehoshua to move forward. And that's what we need to do in our own life. We may think we're there yet, but what's happening is actually this process, and when we read scripture, or we read the story of the Jewish people, we see that they wander for a really long time and we push for a really long time, but that's what we do in our own life. We may realize that we want something in our life or that we know where we want to go, but then we get in this state where we're going. And changing and growing. And Yehoshua represents that moment that Moses is standing and looking, and God says, I want you to look, and I want you to see the land that I'm not going to give you. Now, typically we'd be like, well, that's kind of mean, baiting him. But then God says, I want you to encourage and strengthen Joshua. Encourage and strengthen Joshua, because Joshua is going to go forward. And it isn't a separate Joshua. It's the Joshua in you. The Moses in you has to look upon the Joshua, the pure energy of the inner child that we talked about, and say, we're going to do this together now. It's not me rescuing you anymore. We are now integrated, whole, and congruent. I've been listening to you, inner child. I've been pulling for you. I've been fighting for you. I've been running with you. And now we're working together whole, directed. Certain teachers talk about intention. That intention, shooting an arrow, is not effective if you don't know where you're shooting it. And it's even more ineffective if you're shooting it in two different places and you don't even know it. So the moment of Joshua is the moment that the whole person comes together. The inner child, the Moses rescuer, and God itself, the divine, unites the whole piece, and you walk forward. And how do we get to that moment? There is there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about that, because I'm always trying to, Jenny, that's really great. Thank you for that nice story about Torah. But how do I get to that point? Well, first of all, you want to have patience, love, and compassion for yourself if you're not there yet. Because the truth of the matter is that moment involves many, many moments spent with each part of yourself. You have to slow down. You have to take time with the very sacred, special part of yourself that in Torah is Yisrael, the very special part of yourself that has been maybe wounded or hasn't been listened to or has been pushed and pushed and pushed by another part or by stuff other people wanted you to be or other people. So you have to stop and take time with yourself. And many, many hours of doing that, these two parts come together and move forward. So maybe the message of wholeness today in today's show is that it's time to stop and take time with yourself so you can integrate with that very special part of yourself that's very different from everyone else, that has something special to give and something special to bring forward. Spend time with it, love it, cherish it. I was watching this movie. And this is an archetypal experience, guys. This is life. This is life. I could tell you the years of your life that this is happening if you want me to. I could tell you this is 20s, 30s, 40s. I could do it like that and say, this is exactly when you're in your Moses. This is exactly when you're Joshua. But the truth of the matter is you run this cycle of Israel, Moses, Joshua. You run this cycle in your journey over many issues, over many cycles of your life. And so you're continually going around the mountain and continually growing. You're shedding and growing and shedding and growing until you completely become whole on a lot of issues. But there's a movie that I watched that really, really shows this moment in someone's life. And I have to say, because somebody's listening today that is on the cusp of this moment in your life, and it's really frustrating because maybe things seem like the wilderness. Maybe you're like, you know what? I know that I'm there. I know what I'm supposed to do with my life. I know it's right there. Why isn't it happening? Why isn't it gelling? Why isn't it fast enough? Why aren't I in Zion? Why can't I get there? And ironically, you would think, you got to push a little harder. But the message is not that in this portion, my friends. The message is to pay attention, to encourage and strengthen Joshua, to encourage and strengthen the pure, the inner child. Get to know yourself. Love yourself. For God's sake, you're going to need it. So anyway, I'm watching this movie. It's an old movie, but it was on, and I was like, I got to watch this movie because it's such a good movie, and Julia Roberts is in it, and it is really good, and it's true. I love true stories. So this is a story of Erin Brockovich, and Erin Brockovich is this great chick who is the perfect example of this journey. And I want to explain it to you because I feel like somebody out there is experiencing this journey just like this. Erin Brockovich is a single mom. She's been married twice or has two baby daddies. I don't know if they were even married. And she's just struggling. She can't pay her bills. She can't get a job. Nothing's going right, whatever. But what's happened for her is she's been set free, because even though she doesn't seem free because she's is broke, her mental state is much more free. She's much more aware of who she is. She's much more empowered. She doesn't take no from anybody. She doesn't take any crap. And so she's in that state where she's been pulled. She's been pulled from slavery because her attitude is different. Okay, so remember, you've been freed. So things may not look right, but you've been freed because you're not taking it. So the universe is getting ready to send you something. So she goes and she hooks up with this attorney through a series of events where she gets hit by a car. And it's all these crazy events, very similar to Moses in the wilderness. And so she goes and gets this job. And what happens to this job is the perfect example of this merger or this wholeness or this healing or this tikkun olam that happens within ourselves, is because she is given the ability. She is encouraged and strengthened through this attorney, gives her the ability to do research on this issue that she just has this hunch about. in her inner self, her higher self that believes in herself, the part that ignores the fact that she's a single mom, the part that ignores her, the purest, most highest part of her senses something's wrong. And then she's allowed to follow through on it. She's allowed to follow through on this issue, and she's right. And she does all of this research, and she becomes strong, and she becomes powerful, and she becomes a unified whole human being. And right at the end, the woman who walks into her new life, the woman that gets the new car and the new job is it's not the same woman. It's not the Moses. It's a new woman. So I want you to see that in scripture. I want you to see that this code is telling you that you are evolving and changing and growing, but you will only do that if you recognize and love all parts of yourself. So really, really important. 2 ways. Journal. I want you journaling with yourself on a regular basis. Spend time. Not with the self that has to set. Don't set any goals. Okay, do me a favor. Don't set any goals with this part of yourself. I want you to spend time with yourself and say, what can I do for you today? How can I love you more today? How can I ease up on you today? And you're like, Jay, that's just crazy. How can that be the one last thing that it's going to take me to the next level? Because I'm telling you, listeners, you have worked hard enough. You've done all that other stuff. You've wandered, you've fought, you've proved yourself, you've wandered. You Moses did out. And now is the time. Spend time, love yourself. Hug yourself. What do you need? What kind of comfort and love do you need? What kind of, it could be something so silly, like stop feeding me chicken, it's boring, But ask, what can I do for you today? Maybe leave work early. Jenny, that's crazy. How can I get to the next level if I leave work early? Well, you know what? Maybe you'll be driving home when you leave work early and bump into somebody really important in your life. Listen, God has a plan. I don't know what it is, but I want you to start communicating and loving with that one part of yourself, because that part of yourself is Yisrael. That part of yourself is that little inner child. It's that little special thing that can build pyramids. It can do so much with just a little bit of strength and encouragement. It doesn't take much, but I am telling you, you cannot go to that next level. You cannot enter into that next level of life if you don't go as a whole person. You got to go with all of you. And I have to tell you from my own journey of inner child and all of this work, I can't take it to the next level if I don't bring her along with me. If I don't recognize all those needs, if I don't sleep when I need to, if I don't eat good food when I need to, if I don't play when I need to, if I don't go to the beach, I don't watch a sunset, be around people I love, cuddle my puppy, I don't know, whatever it is, go to a movie, eat too much chocolate, I don't know. Whatever it is, I am giving you permission today and almost like a direction, listeners. This is a necessity at this point in your life, because as long as the issue is someone else's problem, as long as this inner child, as long as this thing is something that you're just dragging along, you will drag it along. But once you make it your friend, it's going to take you to a level you can't even imagine. The land of milk and honey. That's what scripture says. And that's why Joshua goes. That's Yehoshua. So last week we asked Yehoshua to help us see differently. And so now I want you to ask the Yehoshua in you to help you become whole. In Jewish mysticism, we have this concept of tikkun olam, or healing, and it represents this shattering that happens at the beginning of our life. And then we gather all the lost pieces and we become whole, because that is when we become whole on a grand level and a whole within ourselves. But what I'm saying is, this is you. This is your tikkun olam. This is your time to heal. And I'm telling you, the energy of the universe is there for you. It's waiting to support you. So you're going to get out that journal and you're going to say, Jenny, I don't have a journal. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to Barnes & Noble and you're going to pick out the prettiest, cutest journal that you want to buy. And then you're going to start writing it and you're going to say, Dear me, what would you like me to do for you today? For you, because you're the only piece of God you're with your whole life, and we're counting on you shining bright. Remember, this is Rabbi Jenny. Keep listening, and we'll be back with a very special guest on wholeness. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin.
The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back. We're talking about wholeness, and we're talking about integrating all parts of yourself to become whole. And it is actually the most courageous thing that you can do for yourself. Sometimes it goes against our grain to think about reaching within instead of reaching without. But I was recently at work with a patient, and she was doing her life story in front of a very big group. And one of the things that became very evident in this life story was that this particular patient let the world define who she was and was not just addicted to substances, but was addicted to the attention and approval of other people. And what happens when we do that is when other people hurt us, it creates kind of like a hole in ourselves. And that hole allows things where we can never be full. It's like being a cup with holes on the bottom, no matter what we do, we can't fill up because we're trying to be filled up by the outside world. And so integration and wholeness and taking time to pay attention to yourself and journal and do what we talked about in the first part of the show is the most courageous and it's so important. Your piece of the divine, my friends. You're a piece of me, you're a piece of everything. And when you're healed, I'm healed. We're all part of that same sky. So it is time now for our very exciting guest, our Tom, Dick, or Harry.
You're telling me Rabbi Jenny will talk to any Tom or Dick or Harry? Any Tom, any Dick, any Harry, Yeehaw!
So we are joined today with Dr. Ari Socher from Renew Me. Hi, Ari.
Hi, Rabbi Jenny. Thanks so much for having me.
We're so excited. You're becoming a regular in the AMP family. And we're talking about wholeness. And Ari, first tell the listeners what you do, because that's important, and then we can make jokes about wholeness and teeth and things like that.
Okay, cool. So I'm a dentist.
Yes.
And I have a mobile dental company. So it's run out of a 31-foot Winnebago that's converted that we go work exclusively with substance abuse, eating disorder, behavioral health treatment centers, bringing oral wellness programming to the centers and the clients.
Very, very cool. And actually, Ari, Ari called into the show. It called into the Rabbi Jenny show and did not know that I work in substance abuse. And he has done work with a few of the clients at my center, and unbelievable. Why is dental work so important and we're talking about wholeness. So this is perfect.
Yeah.
So why is dental work important for someone to recover from substance abuse or eating disorder? Why on their journey is that so important?
I mean, there's a number of reasons. I think for the most obvious is I think the self-esteem portion. I think that you really want that new sense of self and that new good feeling you have about yourself, and you want your appearance, I think, your exterior appearance to match that. You want to convey that message to others. And obviously the obvious reasons, too, of pain. The risk of relapse. Recovery is a slow process, and it's a challenging process. And any little thing I feel like you can do, especially in the early stages, to smooth out that entrance into a new life goes a long way.
I really have seen it. And it's funny because when we first started the center, we had a client who came in without his teeth and had lost them. I don't know if he sold them. I don't know what he did.
Right? He lost them a while ago.
He had lost them a while ago and had a piece made, denture made, and then lost the denture.
That's not
so
good.
young kid, because certain methamphetamines and certain drugs rot your teeth out and you lose them very quickly. Plus poor dental care when you're on the street. But we had promised him at 6 months sober we were going to get him dentistry, and we were saving up money, and he didn't end up staying clean and sober. But we all bet that if he would have had his teeth, he would have. Like, it was so humiliating to go job searching and to build your self-esteem back.
And there's a physiologic response. There's studies that show that the good feeling, neurotransmitters in your brain, when you actually smile and flex those muscles, that you get more release of that. So it's actually a physiologic type of thing. So if every time you go to laugh and every time you feel great, you go to cover your mouth because you're ashamed, you really limit your happiness.
I love that, smiling. And it's true. I always say it takes less muscles to smile than to frown.
100%.
But if you walk around in, anywhere, everyone's frowning.
Yeah.
You must notice that as a
give them
dentist.
my card.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do.
No, but just in general, we're a frowning culture.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, it's a good thing. That's a good point. I don't know either. I don't know if it's I don't know. I don't know if it's a fear of arrogance, or people feel that you don't want to come across like you're maybe being happy makes people feel like you're better than or something. So I guess everyone just be miserable. Misery loves company, I guess.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how'd you come up with the idea of driving around in an RV and being and doing dentistry?
Well, I was in private practice for 8 years, and I came to the point where I was seeing a lot of clients when I moved down here. I'm from New Jersey, and when I came into private practice down in Florida, I was seeing a lot of clients that were in treatment. And usually they would bring them to me when things were way far along, really swollen, infected, and all those things. And I know, knowing the benefits of recovering your smile, if you will, and having that going, and taking away the risks and things, I felt that, it would be great to bring this to the treatment centers. I feel like a lot of treatment centers were put in a tough situation.
Yes.
Because, it's hard to manage that. It's hard to move clients around. There's a lot of liability there and all sorts of other reasons. So if we took away that obstacle and said, listen, we will come to you, we will fix your client's teeth, and they will walk out of there not just off of drugs and in a better mind space, but just overall a better person. That's where things came to kind of come together, and now it's little by little we're growing every day, and it's been awesome. I feel like I have a new purpose in dentistry.
Well, and Ari lights up the office. He comes in and everybody, doctor, and I mean, it didn't help I paraded you around Dr. Ari, Dr. Ari, but everybody is very appreciative. And honestly, many people fear the dentist just naturally because I've never met a dentist like you. And when you were talking on the break, we were discussing, why do you become a dentist? Because I think most everybody must ask you that. But you were describing it as a craft, and I've never heard anybody share it. Can you share the listeners about how you feel about your craft of dentistry?
Yeah,
I think that's important.
I always wanted to do something with medicine. I always wanted to work with, be able to help people, take them out of pain and things like that were great. But to be able to have someone come in with a problem and for me to actually sit down with my hands and fix that problem and change their life in maybe an hour, you could change their life. That really, to me, felt like a reason to get into dentistry, to not just sit back and hope that the medicine, write a prescription and hope that the medicine fixes the problem, but to be able to get your hands dirty per se, clean but dirty, and fix the problem is really what got me into it.
Did you ever get weirded out by people's mouths?
Never weirded out. Never weirded out.
I mean, I don't want to look.
It's funny. Everyone says, "Oh, they don't want to smile. They want to cover their mouth." And they talk to me, things like that. Never weirded out. It's one of those things. I think when you're kind of in there doing your thing, you're not looking at it as, "Oh, that's gross," or "Oh, that's that." You're just kind of, you have a mission and you're accomplishing that.
Wow. Okay. So starting your own business, that's got to be a hard thing.
That was quite a endeavor. I've never, my whole family's in retail. And I was the only one that really went through college, and definitely the only one in the family that became in the medical profession. And having that, everyone else was in sales. So I know I had that sales muscle, that retail muscle, that business muscle somewhere. But my 20s were spent in school.
Right.
So finally getting out there and realizing that I can combine both things. That's the coolest thing also with dentistry, is that it's a fine line to walk, but it's a combination of business, retail, sales, exactly. Mm-hmm. So obviously the starting up your own business it's oh man, it's a lot more than I thought.
It is. It's really, really scary.
Very scary.
And people, it's like what I've seen from my own experience, and maybe you can mimic that, having been in practice and had other people work with you, or maybe even shared your practice with somebody else. Going from being an employee to the boss for me has been so strange, because I don't ever get off. Like, I'm not off ever.
Right.
Like, it's 24/7, and I forget. Like, the people who work for me now, I used to work with. Mm-hmm. So it's like they get to take a break. Like, I'm like, why aren't you stressed out by this? Well, they're not supposed. Like, it's a different level of reality. That you kind of need spirituality, and you need this idea of wholeness. So let's get to the topic. Where do you think in your life you struggle with being a whole person? Like, where would you say that when you were listening to the beginning about wholeness?
Well, I think just what I just spoke about. How I'm a spiritual person, and I had the the medical and the educational background. And I know somewhere deep inside me, I had that sales portion, and where now I'm getting to the point where I feel like I'm combining all those parts, where I'm combining the spirituality and the, you got to know deep inside that this is your sense of purpose, because there's, it's not for the weak-hearted. You need to have to know you have a reason every single day to wake up and do it, So I combined that portion, I feel like, with all the other aspects of my life, and I feel like slowly, I'm a work in progress, but I feel like that's how, I became a whole person, kind of combining all parts of me. To get to where I am right now.
And what are the things that you do in a daily life? Because remember, we have listeners, and you're a successful guy and you're a realized guy. But what do you fit in your day? Is there a meditative practice that you do? What can you pass on to the listeners?
Well, I wish I tried to meditate. It's a work in progress.
He's a very fast person. He doesn't slow down.
Yes, so
we're gonna have to work on this.
So we're gonna work on that. I'm Jewish, so I lay tefillin, so I pray during the day.
Which is a meditation, by the way.
Yeah,
it really is.
For me, the reason I do it is to take away, I feel like I've had so many blessings in my life that if I could take 5-7 minutes out of my life to kind of give back as a sign of respect, if nothing else, is really what drives me to do that every day. But yeah, I try to do that. So I try to make sure that I have a plan every day, that I exercise, absolutely, because I got to get some of some of my yayas out per se. And really kind of just keep balance. I really try to keep my life as much sense of balance, having a good time, and keep my family and my friends and my business and all these things an even keel is it's a challenge. Yeah. It really is. And it's very easy to kind of the scales to tip one way or the other.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Tell us about your most rewarding. Oh, here we go. We got Rick Astley. Sorry, I just, together forever. I love it. Yeah, I love him. I love him. I used to see him in the discos in Tel Aviv. Anyway, so we are going to go to a break. We'll be right back with Dr. Ari, and we're going to find out about one of his most rewarding patients with wholeness. It's Rabbi Jenny. Keep listening.
The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin.
The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Not deep. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny. We're getting really deep on the break with Dr. Ari and his nice smile. And we were talking about his business as with Renew Me and what do you call portable dentistry?
Mobile dental.
Mobile. That's the word. Mobile dentistry. We're asked before the break for Ari to come up with his most rewarding client or one of his most rewarding clients. You want to tell us a story?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Renew Me, we have a Recover Your Smile program where we actually scholarship for one client every 3 months at the centers that we work with, so we can give them a new smile if they don't have the finances or any insurance or anything to help them, especially. So personally, my most rewarding experience with one of those clients was a client where he just got clean, 40-something-year-old man, single, and wanted to start a new life and didn't have any money and was just happy to have a chance at recovery. And we went there, and first I really enjoy, it sounds sadistic, but I really enjoy pulling teeth. I think
that's really creepy.
It sounds creepy, I know,
but
but
wicked creepy.
I feel like it's one of the things I do best, and I love having people come with apprehension, and I know with confidence that I can calm them down and make them realize that this is such a breeze.
I know you like theater, but I keep thinking of what's his name in The Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, Rick Moranis?
No, the dentist.
Oh, yes. No, not that.
Not that. Okay,
but
go ahead.
Anyway,
good.
So yeah, definitely not him.
No.
But so anyway, though, my most rewarding client was one just like that, had multiple broken teeth, couldn't smile. Every time he laughed, and he was such a sweet guy, would cover his mouth. And I went ahead, we pulled a bunch of teeth on him, gave him a denture, and it made me think right then and there, made all the dental school worthwhile to see that this guy's life changed, to have his therapist call me and say that how he sees a visible difference in him. And the guy's still clean. I mean, this was about a year and a half ago, still clean, writes me notes all the time, thanking me. And I'm telling you, every time I get a note, it just makes me feel like I'm doing what I need to be doing.
It's a really important thing.
Oh man, it feels great to be able to do that for someone. And sometimes I feel bad where you charge people because it's not necessarily hard work. It's rewarding work.
How do people get in touch with you? We haven't said that yet.
So I have a website which is www.renumimobile. So that's RENUMIMOBILE.com. I have a 1-844 number. That's 844-4-RENEW-ME or 844-473-6864. And always available to help anyone.
Okay, so now we're going to get like real dentist-y.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm going complete dentist-y.
Let's get it. Get the gloves on.
I'm just doing it. I'm going right into
Gloves
it.
are
So
on.
I want you to be like this is the Dr. Ari segment of our show. And what can people do? What is I want to know like the best thing you can do for your teeth and like the worst things you can do for your teeth. I know this is like a real tell the listeners.
All right. Well, use Sensodyne toothpaste. Not because I'm just on the commercial, but
really?
Sensodyne toothpaste is actually a great whitening toothpaste and desensitizer. But besides that, on a serious note, so number one is you got to watch your drinking of soft drinks, energy drinks. Besides the sugar and the acids, the thing is this with drinking those things. I'd much rather you chug a can of Coke than to sip it for an hour because you're bathing the teeth in that acids and those sugars. If you have to drink those things, dilute them or rinse your mouth out afterwards. That's really important. Obviously, flossing. They say flossing is the easiest way to add 7 years to your life. So flossing your teeth, it's, I think if everybody flossed, dentists would probably not have a job, but that's really important. And diet. I think diet and especially medications people take. People don't realize that xerostomia or dry mouth is a side effect for many, many medications. And when you have that reduced salivary production, not to get too detailed, but you don't get the buffering of the saliva, you don't get the remineralization of the saliva, and you actually get a lot more cavities in random places too, with taking some of those medications. So those are 3 pretty good things to take care of.
Do you floss?
I do floss. I probably could floss more. I always
wonder that when I go to the dentist. Does he really floss?
I'll add 3.5 years to my life, not the 7.
Not the 7.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the 7. I got to tell you, my 13-year-old, every time, he loves the dentist because I swear that's the only 2 times his teeth get cleaned.
Okay.
I swear that's why. It's like, Mom, my teeth are dirty. When's my dentist appointment?
Right.
But he'll floss like the few days before.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You see those all the time. Another great tip is mothers with newborns with babies, right? So what they find is it used to be thinking that it was more genetic. So I have soft teeth, so my kids are going to have bad cavities and soft teeth. But what they're finding is that the bacteria that cause the cavities is actually transferred from the caregiver to the child. So when you taste the food or you blow on the food and you feed the child, so they're finding that, okay, a mom who never had a cavity and their child has a ton of cavities, well, the mom maybe wasn't watching the child and they had a caregiver who had poor dental care.
Wow.
So what you can do as a new mom and things like this is chewing xylitol gum, using brushing your teeth and Listerine before you feed your child, things like that really cuts down the transfer of that bacteria.
This is very stressful.
Yeah, don't be so stressed.
I don't do any of that.
I'm supposed to be stressed out when I'm a dentist.
I just go. So let's get back to wholeness. Let's get back to spirituality. Let's get a little personal.
Let's do it.
Where do you think you could improve in becoming more of a whole person?
How much more time do we have?
Yeah, we have some
I'm
time.
kidding.
That's why I'm
I'm
looking. I'm like, let's get to know Dr. Ari. Let's have a moment.
Where can I improve? Well, number one, we said before, meditation. Taking that time out. They say if you don't have time to meditate, that's even more of a reason why you should be meditating, and that pertains to me for sure.
Do you think that like wholeness in my world, there's pieces of us that we leave along the way in different parts of our life. Like, do you think that there's any part of peace, that might not be there to keep you whole that you run from? You think? It's kind of a deep, heavy,
It's quite deep.
It's quite deep. I just like making people think.
If there's a piece of, let's say there's a piece of me that maybe
you kind of like avoid, like we all do that. I mean, you may avoid for me, I like it's there may be like a really innocent, joyful part that I may be like, I don't have time for that, like things like that. But is there a piece of Ari that you just don't want to hang out with, or find yourself running away from, or think you don't have to have time for it? Or it's a challenging question. I think that everybody does it.
Yeah.
And it could be the theater thing. like we talked about.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think things taking the time to really, I feel like there's not enough time to do all these things, but there really is. I mean, there's so many hours in the day that you can only work so much and you can only sleep so much. So I really things like that I really enjoy. I think I sometimes I feel like you're on autopilot and you're just going through life and you're not taking a second to stop and look around and, like they say, smell the flowers.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point. Doing things like that I enjoy, besides just exercise, but fishing and playing the guitar and really taking time for myself, instead of just going and just running and running and running to, you got one time around this life and you have one time to be younger. And, I think a lot of those good years that you could spend, trying new things and seeing new places are spent really trying to build this career, and you never get to, enjoy the benefit of what you're doing it for.
And then there's that part like, doing it just to do it. You know what I mean? Like, play guitar, you go right from the guitar to writing a song to getting it published to performing it in front of people. That's just that mind that does that.
And taking the time to do, I wish I could be like the Matrix and kind of plug in and just download how to play the guitar. And then, I'll be John Mayer tomorrow.
Right.
I would love to do that.
That would be enough.
That would be enough. Yeah, exactly. That should be good. But that's for sure. Yeah, take the time.
So being creative.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So maybe journaling.
Journaling, when you were saying journaling before, that popped in my head. I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble if I could find one that exists anymore. And I'm going to find a pretty journal. And masculine pretty.
Masculine pretty's okay.
Yeah, just black with a butterfly on it. And I'm really going to try to start doing that because I know there's a lot of power in not just thinking these thoughts and having that drive, but writing things down. The power of putting something from your mind to paper is powerful.
Yeah, and noticing, I always say like spending time in nature too. Sometimes we get so busy that we don't even just walk outside. Like it's a really big part of wholeness to be part of the whole. Earlier on the show we talk about, and earlier shows, the one exercise, the word one, go outside and notice everything. So you remember that you're one, like you're echad, you're the final word in the Shema. You're part of, the thing that Moses, when he was saying that, was like, I am that I am. Like, hey, I'm a part of everything, which means I can turn sticks into serpents and Bart seas because I have the...
So that's a great quote. I am that I am. Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, it's part of it. So tell us about Renew Me. Tell us where you are, which treatment center, give you a chance to say what you're doing.
We're at a number of treatment centers. We work with treatment centers from North Miami Beach all the way up to Juno Beach. Mm-hmm. So we're working,
he's mobile. He can go anywhere.
Mobile, come to you. We don't only come there just for, some smaller centers use us as emergencies. So they have the panic button. So, oh my God, someone fell, broke a tooth, or someone came in with pain. We go there.
Yeah.
The larger centers, we go there. They have a scheduled time once a week or once every other week where we actually screen the clients as they come in and kind of catch those issues early. And there's so much benefit in that besides just the financial point of, when you catch something early in dentistry, you save a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
But you keep them from not being miserable while they're at the treatment center. You want them to focus on their recovery and not be like, oh, man, this tooth is killing me. And, so we really try to do that and bring tobacco cessation.
Yes.
So how to quit smoking is huge. Unfortunately, a lot of clients, the old studies used to be stop using drugs, but let them keep kind of smoking cigarettes and don't take everything away at once. But now new studies are coming to show that if you quit everything, your success, yeah, for sure. And, I go to some centers that won't be named, not yours, but that the nurses are handing out cigarettes to some of the clients just to keep them happy and keep them, and I think there's, that's just something that should be really focused on. It was
funny that you said that because we talked about you coming on and doing the smoking cessation, and a couple of the clients were like, can we do it now? Can we do it today? And then the other clients are like writing me PowerPoint presentations on why I need to allow vaping,
Yeah. Well,
it's the same thing. I'm like, you guys,
I think you show them that. You show them that the success rate's like, do you really want to stay clean? Once you get to the determination you want to stay clean, okay, well, here are all the tools that I can give you your best chance of staying clean. So if you don't want to follow those suggestions, then how bad do you really want to stay clean?
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to that. So coming there, keep teaching clients like how to quit smoking, the truth, showing some horrible pictures and the numbers of facts.
And I believe cigarettes are different. I mean, I have to be honest, years ago when I got on my journey, I quit smoking and after a year of recovery. But I think there's more stuff in these cigarettes.
Could be.
I really do. I believe there's more chemicals. I believe it's just very, very addictive. Well, Dr. Ari, we're going to go to break. You'll come back on the show sometime?
100%.
All right. This is Dr. Ari, renewme.
Yep, renewmemobile.com.
Yes, and we'll be right back with the Jenny Jam and the Joy Jar. Thanks for joining us. Keep listening.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Happy Wednesday. We're talking about wholeness. Oh my God, I've been totally disarmed by our previous guest. Not ugly. He's not ugly and Jewish, for goodness. He raps to fill in. What are you trying to do to a Jewish woman? Here. Okay, this is really fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about wholeness because we're setting up our joy jar. And it's going to be a weird moment on the Rabbi Jenny Show. I want to go more into what I was talking about. I also want to give you a couple of quotes that I prepared for you on wholeness that I really, really liked. The first one is by David Bohm, and I love this. It says, individuality is only possible if it unfolds from wholeness. So it's that whole idea that you think you're there when you're not really there. So you have to be kind and compassionate with yourself so you don't so you get to that point where you can become whole. Like, I think that that's the hardest thing as individuals that we do, is that we're not patient with ourselves, that we think we're supposed to be somewhere that we're not. And I think that that happens in life until you hit a certain age, and then you just like, fuck it. Oh, excuse me. That's all there is. And so do we have our caller for the Joy Jar Challenge? All right, we have our caller for the Joy Jar Challenge.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Hey, this is Rabbi Jenny. Who's on the phone?
Hi, it's Tracy.
Hey, Tracy. Are you ready for the Joy Jar Challenge?
I'm ready for the Joy Jar Challenge.
Do you know what it is?
Not 100%.
Okay, Tracy, I need
Naming everything I'm grateful for.
I need you to name 10 things that you are ridiculously joyful for.
And how long do I have to name this in?
As fast as you can.
Okay. I am absolutely ridiculously joyful for my family, my health, the sunrise, trees, family, friends, community, organizations that better the world, people who really want to make a difference, and politicians who say what they mean and mean what they say.
Oh, they exist?
I don't know. It's depending to the universe, though.
Oh, well, Tracy Cowell, what do you want to promote on the show? And you're coming on next week as our guest, so I'm totally thrilled to have you on. But what would you like to promote to the listeners today?
I would love to promote the Cowell assessment, actually, which helps people step into their passion and purpose. I think your show is wonderful. Thank you so much. I developed the Cowell assessment because I felt that there was a need in the world for people to really help to see what was in their blind spots. It helps identify what's in their blind spots, and it could really help people step into their passion and purpose, and it also helps take businesses to the next level because it helps them develop their teams.
I love it. How do people get in touch with it? How do people get a copy of the assessment, do the assessment? Is there a website and a phone number?
They can go to my website or they can contact me directly. My website is www.Cowell Community Partners. That's Cowabunga without the banga. So it's KAWACOMMUNITYPARTNERS.com, or my telephone number 561-239-0322, 239-0322. I just feel like all people have something, a talent, whether they know it or whether they don't, but a talent that when they step into this gift and this skill and this talent, then they can really add to the world in a fantastic way.
Well, Tracy, I'm looking forward to your energy next week. Thank you for participating with the Rabbi Jenny Show. Have a joyful night.
Thank you for having a great show. Thank you for a great show.
Thanks, Tracy.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're winding up here on the Rabbi Jenny Show. We're going to go to the Jenny Jam, right? Yo.
Jam, Rabbi Jenny Jam, jam.
Collaborate and unify, reaching out will bring us high. Weaving up the fire web, together we can move ahead. Cooperate and dignify, lifting up to glorify. Joining hands in circle of, together we can rise above. You and me together, putting on as one. You and me together, it's we thing. You and me together, heading to Zion. You and me together, it's a we thing. Can't do it alone, no time to waste. Mountaintops have had their place. Now it's time to dig the dirt, release the pain and make it work. Building up to civilize, heal the earth and hear her cries. Planting fruit and raising men, we can all be born again. You and me together, go ahead as one. You and me together, it's a we thing. You and me together, heading to Zion. You and me together, it's a we thing. You and me together, walking to Zion. You and me together, it's a we thing. Collaborate and unify, reaching out will bring you high. Weaving up this fire web, together we can move ahead. Cooperate and dignify, lifting up to glorify. Joining hands to circle love, together we can rise above. It's a we thing, it's a we thing. I really like it. We take that hip-hop steady beat. That's our Jenny Jam. Now, I want you to remember what we talked about today. We're talking about wholeness. When we talk about it's a we thing, we're not talking about the we, you, and me. We're talking about the we, you, and you. This is a we thing inside. This is about owning all parts of you and becoming whole. This is about remembering that you are special and you are divine and that there is a light inside. There is a light inside or a flame inside that you have to fan. That's your job. You're the only piece of God, remember, that you are with your whole life. You're in charge of that little piece of light that's connected to all other pieces of light. And it is your job to keep it shining. And I always say that we are all stars in the same sky. And when your star is dim, my sky gets dark, and that really makes me angry. Because I like a bright, starry sky where I can see all the constellations and where I can see you shine. And that's all we want to do here on the Rabbi Jenny Show is help you shine and help you show love. We have to remember the spirit of Yehoshua. Remember, I tell you that invoking Hebrew words and Hebrew names and all of that is very important. Speaking that language is important. And when you get in that place where you don't feel like you can feel a part of you. Do you ever start out the morning just fine and then you end up getting to work and you're like, why does it feel like a piece of me is lagging behind? Or why does it feel like I really don't want to be here? I don't really understand. I know I want to be here, but it feels like a piece of me doesn't want to be here. Well, I want you to say, Yehoshua, I want you to say, what is this piece of me that doesn't want to be here? And that's when I want you to get out that journal. And that's when I want you to ask those questions to yourself. What can I do for you today? What's going on? Maybe you need to eat something. Maybe you need to rest. Maybe you need to call somebody that you love. Maybe you just need to stop and get quiet for 1 second. And maybe you don't want to be there. And that's a really bigger question because that's what we run from. We run from our truth. We run from the real issue inside, that maybe there's something else calling out, something deeper. Maybe what you're doing is right where it's at, but maybe there's something deeper. There's some deeper ache. There's some deeper call that if you merge it, like if you merge those two pieces, like I talked about, if you answer that call, answer that uncomfortability and say, what are you? What is it? What is it you're trying to tell me? It may even surprise you. It may be something from a long, long time ago. What is it that you need? And once you bring that out, it will probably, we fear it because we think it's going to change our whole world. But what it's going to do, what Torah tells us, it's not going to change it. It's going to transform it and evolve it. It's going to merge with whatever's going on now and evolve it and become something beautiful. But it's not going to make anything go away. And I think that that's the fear that we have as human beings, is that we're going to have to change and let go of things that serve us and that are good for us. But that's impossible because that's not how energy works. We only shed what's not working. So whatever it is that's working us and feeding us and filling our soul will remain. And we'll just merge that loving part of us, or merge that higher calling, or merge or answer to that question with what's going on now and move forward into Zion. And that's why Joshua goes there. That's why Yehoshua goes there. And that's that part of you that's going to go there. And I'm telling you, listeners, from this show, somebody's going somewhere. Because I haven't felt in a long time when I'm talking on this show that I'm talking to somebody. So if there is this ache, and that's the message today from Rabbi Jenny, if you get to work, if you get somewhere and you think you want to be there, and when you get there for some reason at about 10:05, you're like, wait a minute, I don't really want to be, something's wrong. There's a piece of me I left somewhere. I don't know where I left it. Maybe at the kitchen table. I don't know. Maybe in the shower. Maybe on the car ride there when you heard something on the radio. Maybe driving in traffic. I'm not really sure, but we're going to gather all those parts in the Rabbi Jenny Show. I'm going to give you the courage and strength and support because we love you. I adore you. Run this one again. It's a fun one. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr. Ari.
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests,